Climb aboard the NFL Express with Charles Barr and John Chapman, your one stop for all 32 NFL teams and news from around the league.
NFL Express, choo choo. Can I get a choo choo? Can I get a beep beep? One of the greatest Chappelle skits of all time. What's your favorite
poop
Chappelle?
On you.
What's your favorite Chappelle?
Favorite Chappelle is definitely Bigsley.
Yeah.
The first season, the whole white power Dave Chappelle was just beyond amazing.
My favorite is because John and I were way into Chappelle, like way. We, before DVRs, we're like running home, or buying the DVD set later on. But mine was simply not even a skit, just Charlie Murphy retelling the Prince story.
Anything.
Or the Super Freak story. So like anything he would do, just talking in the, the credits or the after scene. Funniest, oh my God, best storyteller. Amazing storyteller. So that was my favorite.
I love me some Charlie Murphy, man. R.I.P.
Oh
R.I.P.
R.I.P. for sure. All right, so we've been starting out with funny stories.
Yeah, this is an NFL show, but we like to have a good time and share ridiculous stories about our past. And Charles has what we would like to refer to as a plethora.
Yeah, or a lot of regrettable moments in my life. So one of them was there was a character in our college named Josh Hart, who's now a radio presence. Not sure how he feels about podcasts. I don't know how radio guys feel about it, but Josh Hart was a funny dude.
I do like that you threw his first and last name out there. That is great.
My bad.
We have not talked to Josh Hart about this story. However, I think he's going to be okay with it.
Okay, me too. But he's a funny dude. Like, he just always had that, the it factor. The women even, kind of took to Josh a little bit. And, how tall is Josh, you think?
5'10", 5'11".
No, he's definitely taller than me.
Is he?
I'd say he's 6'1".
Maybe, yeah, maybe.
Yeah. Because I run about 5'10", and he's definitely taller than me.
Okay.
So Josh Hart and I were just sort of it was like a combative relationship.
What relationship were you involved in that wasn't combative?
During that time, there weren't many.
You were very abrasive, my friend, early on.
I was a hard pill to swallow. There's no denying that. Would say anything, no filter, offending basically everyone.
Everyone.
But that's
women
popular
mostly.
now. Yeah, women mostly. But that's popular now, so I would have done well these days. I don't know about that. So what happened was we came back from some kind of band practice, and I stupidly set my guitar case on top of Josh's truck. And when I went to take it off, I scraped his truck.
No. I was there. That's not what happened. You set it on top of the car, and then the weight wasn't right, so you pushed it, you slid it across the roof, and it did the it was a long 3-second scratch of the metal holders on the bottom of the guitar case. And this was a new truck that Josh just bought. And nobody says anything. I'm the innocent one there because it's not my guitar. I didn't do anything stupid. It is not my truck. They both looked at me like I was the identified patient in this situation. And I was just like, you got to beat his ass. And it was all harmless somewhat. And then what happened, Charles?
Okay, so then later on, apparently there's somebody dying outside. Then later on, basically I get jumped in my own dorm room.
That is correct.
I got a knock at the door, and in bus John, Rick, and Josh, and boom.
So we split up, right? Charles goes back to his place, and Josh heads back to my apartment. We're all sitting around, and Josh retells the story, and I was like, dude, you got to beat his ass. I'm an instigator. I'm not a nice person. I'm not going to heaven. But
that's not where it unfolded, though. Because actually, the fight, in terms of, talking about it, unfolded just between me and Josh outside of Bracken. I'll talk about that in a second. So, we're in there. Josh is laying on top of me. He's quite a bit bigger than me. And how much you think did I weigh back then?
100 pounds.
150, 155, maybe.
You're pretty tiny, man.
Oh, it's thin. So, yeah, really just dainty, really, to be honest about it. So, I don't know when this was. I think we ended up getting back in Josh's truck at some point. I think we tried to make amends, but it wasn't happening. And somehow we just started talking shit to each other. I'm like, dude, I'll tell you what, man. I was like, in a boxing match, I'd beat your ass. Like, I'm just like going crazy on him. He's like, no way. Like, I would just destroy you. I'm like, dude, we should do this. We should fight. And I don't know. We like
he's
left
200 plus.
Like he's 200 plus,
yeah.
Taller than me. His reach was ridiculously longer than mine. I'd say 3 or 4 inches. So I remember like leaving. You know, we went our separate ways. And then, like, the next day, Josh is in the lunchroom just politicking with folks. And he's good at this, okay? I see him talking. People are smiling, looking back up at me. I'm like, what's happening? Something's off. And he's like, comes up to me. He's like, you ready to fight? I'm like, yeah. I'm like, when? Where? He's like, I'm setting it all up. Just make sure you to be where I tell you to be. I'm like, cool, man. I can't wait. So then he announces to the table that we're going to be fighting inside of a church. And
not joking. That is the way it was announced.
Yeah. We're going to be fighting inside of a church. And all of the proceeds are going to go to this missionary trip for one of our friends. Now, the funny part is, now fast forward to today, people wouldn't even blink at that in some, realms. But back then, boxing inside of a church was still not okay.
It was a rather strict private Christian school college.
For sure.
Yeah.
So then Josh being Josh, he makes it bigger and bigger. Now he's turned into Don King. And not only is he fighting, he's Conor McGregor. He's setting up other fights.
Yeah, there was an undercard.
There's an undercard of at least 4 other fights. And me and Josh are the main card. Now, here's the best part. Probably the worst fight of the night. Definitely the worst fight of the night was the main card.
Yeah.
Which, that happens, actually, if you watch any sport, MMA especially. So, the undercards are happening. We're talking trash to each other for a straight month. I start training. There was a church that was down the way that gave free boxing lessons. I start going.
What kind of church does that? Not a good one.
Do you remember
Not
Hope?
a good one.
Yeah, not a good one. So Hope Church, they gave me Hope. And I'm like getting into it. So we get there. And by the way, jump in, John, if there's any other details or any other funny pieces I'm missing.
Well, this was like the biggest build up ever. It was like a month to 6 weeks out. There were flyers. They were talking about it on the radio. It got insane. And I mean, Josh built this up into an annual event that would go on for, 6 years.
Right.
I mean, it was insane. It turned into firefighters versus cops. It was insane.
Let me preface that too. There is no joke to that. This became a thing. And we had one that was outdoors at a camp, and one was out in the boonies and everyone showed. There was one in a hotel. I don't think you were at the one in the hotel.
No, I didn't go to that one.
That one was the most well orchestrated one. He made there's YouTubes of promo for it. Okay, that's how. So we started this thing, and so Josh left out some details, and this crowd is rowdy. And let me just set the scene for you.
Ugh.
I'm not favored in this crowd. Okay.
Nope.
Coming out to booze. Let me just be very
I was
clear
in your
about
corner,
that.
though. Let's be real.
You and 4 other guys. And I think that they also may have booed just because when I came out.
You were pretty rough, man. I think it was the bandana.
I didn't have one on. Don't. There's pictures. There's not on. But anyway, so I came out to some Rage Against the Machine song. He came out to Mama Said Knock You Out. And the crowd is hype. All right, people are wasted. I can smell booze. Again, we're in a church.
A private Christian college, and they went level 10 pretty damn quick. You're talking about pastor kids, daughters, screaming F words at Charles, and it got weird quick.
it got real weird. So then one of my buddy Lucas, who was somebody I was training with, and basically by training, he was just kicking my ass every day. He was really good at it. He got sucker punched. They like pushed him in the crowd. Somebody just straight up decked him in the face. Like this was
not healthy,
like
not a good
Trump
environment.
rally before Trump rallies were things.
Correct. Well said.
So
a lot of them still Trump supporters.
Honestly, that's the kind of atmosphere we're talking about here. Kill him. And also, too, during that time, people had the perception of me like I was a full-blooded Mexican. Like, I don't know who started that rumor. I'm definitely part Hispanic, but there is lawnmower. And
why does that bring about hate? I don't understand why that's even a thing.
People were yelling out stuff about mow my grass, all kinds of stuff. So I definitely feel like I felt racism that day. So what Josh forgot to mention is that we weren't going to be boxing in a ring. No.
The wall.
We're going to be boxing in 3 sides are made up of people who don't like you and are going to push you if you get near them. And then another is a carpeted wall. Don't ask why it's carpeted, but it is. So the judges are people who clearly do not favor me, okay? I think maybe one of them favored me, but definitely not Jaron. Let's all be clear about that. I use his name.
Don't talk about him, please.
Sorry. So they all obviously scored the card a certain way. I'll tell you right now, purely on boxing, and this could be a contested or controversial. I beat him. Like, clearly, he didn't even ever touch me. I tagged him tons of times.
He leaned on you for the greater part of 2 rounds.
He leaned
just kind
on
of
me
pinned you
when-
against the wall and hit you a little bit in the side.
He got tired. I redeemed myself in a second fight with him in the basement.
That was awesome. This was junior or senior year?
That was junior year, and we had to stop the fight.
Yeah,
So-
yeah. You totally you took it to him.
So
Not even close.
That way, but then I later on almost died This is why I love college. College is great. You're in a boxing match with your kind of frenemy, and then somebody else is like, you know what? Don't even worry that you just boxed for 3 rounds. Box this guy too. And then I boxed Mark.
That was not smart.
No, who's way more athletic than me, and honestly
Yeah.
could have been my end that day. We're in the basement, and there's these like bedposts that are metal that are on the side, and my face gets really close to one, and I swear to God that Mark clearly saw that my face was near one, and he decided to go ahead with a AB punch combo on my face, and
He tried
missed.
to fatality you. Let's just be real.
For sure. He's like, finish him. And I'm like, not today. So definitely almost died that day. So anyways, don't fight in churches, guys. The
Or
story-
yeah, why not? Yeah, we are 13 minutes in, and I'm not even mad. This was you're welcome, people. Our
Exactly.
few listeners we have left.
Yeah. So all in all, it was a bad decision, but I don't regret it, and I'd do it again. I'd probably train harder, to be perfectly honest with you.
You are the Rocky. You are my version of Rocky.
God,
He lost the
sorry.
first fight too. People forget that.
I didn't lose. They just scored it wrong. Anyways, let's move into some football, man. You ready?
Yeah, I'm ready, man. Let's do this.
All right, so we got the Dolphins at the Texans. This is actually going to be quite a game. You've got the Dolphins who are outperforming this year, and you've got the Texans who are not completely unpredictable, but they seem to show up most games. Their defense is all right at times, and their offense with Fuller and D. Hopkins, hey, man, they're making plays. So I like the Texans. I like the home team here, but weirdly, you've got Brock got Drake a little bit more involved, and that actually benefited them. I don't think that this Dolphins team is somebody I'm going to put a lot of faith into, but am I going to be surprised if they win? No, I won't be surprised. But I got the Texans. Who do you got?
Yeah, I'm taking the Texans too. And the crazy thing is, if the playoffs started today, both of these teams would be in. Like, they're not good football teams. I do not believe in Miami whatsoever, but they find ways to win weird games. But no, I'm going Texans big time. Brock Osweiler is not an NFL quarterback, even though he looked very, very good 2 weeks in a row. Poorly coached team, Miami. I'm going to Houston right here, home team.
Gotcha. Next up is a game that, well,
this all you.
Let me just talk about my Eagles for a second. I'll start with the positive. Positive is that this is a coaching issue, but a big one. So we have issues in a defensive coordinator who kind of refuses to change what he's going to do, leaving his corners on islands for downs and distance that don't really make sense. I don't know. I just can't figure out why he's not making adjustments. The comeback that happened in Carolina should have never happened, and it is unfortunately a characteristic of a team that is absolutely in no shape, way, or form built to go into the postseason or last in the postseason. Can the Eagles transform? For sure. I said it last week that they could, but that because you got the Giants who did it that 1 year, but that's an anomaly. Eagles are in trouble. Do not expect, if you're a fan like me, hey, do not have the same expectations. Keep hope, that's great, but let's get to the negatives. They just lost Derek Barnett for the year.
Yeah.
Jay Ajayi is not there. They may not trade for another wide receiver. We'll see what happens. We've still got a little bit of time. I could see them going for Devontae Parker. I wouldn't want to give up too much for him. Yeah, same. There's some other names that are out there. We do need somebody else to balance that offense out because Ertz on one side, Jeffrey on the other, that's great. But again, for that offense to really go, they kind of need another option. Aguilar, obviously at the crosser, but they need somebody to stretch it a little bit. So I wouldn't be surprised to see them make a move. But that defense, it's in need of some help. I don't think we can afford Patrick Peterson, but it'd be beautiful.
It would.
Then you got the Jags. This is a team that is definitely underperforming, even on the defensive side of the ball. It's a letdown. Let's be honest. Both of these teams have the same narrative, really. They're letting down their previous expectation of the previous year. And Blake Bortles is looking worse. It looks like a degenerative thing that's going on with his arm. It's just getting more inaccurate, and he's making worse plays. If the Jaguars got off of... It's never too late to stop making the wrong decision. That's true for the Jags, and they need to get off this Bortles deal. Yeah, you paid him some money. It's time to let somebody else take the reins of that offense, get some games under your belt. Or, so what? Yeah, you're paying him all this money, and you're feeling bad about putting somebody else in, but at least you'd be winning games. And then it doesn't feel so bad. So, who knows with this game? I do not think that Blake Bortles can make the mistakes against this Eagles defense that he's made against others. But then again, this Eagles defense definitely let down against Cam, but Cam's a different kind of quarterback. So I hate to favor my team again, but I kind of do see the Eagles taking this one because the Jags defense hasn't produced the way that we thought either. And I like our offensive line against their defensive line. What do you think?
Yeah, it's a coin flip game as far as Vegas is concerned. It's right there. You know, the home team is favored by 3 points, but that's kind of what's standard. Both 3 and 4 teams. And you talk about your defense, but you guys haven't given up more than 27 points in a game this year. So I am favoring Philly here. I do not believe in Blake Bortles or Cody Kessler or that coaching staff. So I'm picking Philly. I can't tell you the last time I picked Jacksonville confidently, and I sure won't do it against the Eagles. So I'm going Philly here as well.
Let's hope, man. I can't take another loss. All right, we got a good one. This is a fantastic game. You got Baltimore Ravens at Carolina, man. Break this down.
Man, these are two great teams. Let's just be really honest. You know, Carolina's 4-2. Baltimore's 4-3, and so in this, I'm going to go with the best defense, and I think that's Baltimore. And if I had to pick best offense, I might say Baltimore again. Joe Flacco continues to play lights out, and I just Baltimore has something going on right now. In Carolina, they came out of the bye week and changed their entire offensive philosophy. They made it all the way through 3 quarters without passing the ball one time to Christian McCaffrey. What the hell is wrong with you? I get that Greg Olson's back, whatever. Get the ball to Christian McCaffrey. It's what helped you up until your bye week, and then Norv Turner, their offensive coordinator, changed the plan. I'm going Baltimore here, and great defense. A great defense.
I agree. I've been a Baltimore fan this year because I think they're one of these sneaky teams that's going to do some damage in the postseason. I think they get there. I think they do well. I don't think that they're all the way a contender, but I like them. They're grimy. They hit you. That defense shows control over other offenses. It's a different type of defense. I feel like offensive sometimes play scared of them. I feel like they bring the thunder, and it changes the dynamic. Jets at Chicago. Mitch Trubisky, even in a loss, he showed some signs that I really like. He showed confidence. He made some throws. I like him against this Jets defense, even though, again, this Jets defense is a little bit sneaky, but not really. They got ran on against the Vikings. Kirk Cousins kind of did what he wanted. I'm feeling Chicago in this game, and oddly, I feel like Trey Burton is finally feeling himself in this offense, so I like a big game from him. What do you think?
I like it. Yeah, Mitch Trubisky's playing as well as anybody in the NFL. Now, you could talk about how his passing stats were awful, and I watched that game against New England, and he didn't look great passing, but man, rushing, good Lord. 3 straight games of over 47 yards rushing. He is moving the ball very, very well. And that defense has been bad, but it's a great defense. How do you fix a great defense? Put them up against a rookie quarterback. So Chicago will win this game against the 3-4 Jets. Sam Darnold will continue to struggle. He doesn't have a lot of help. They signed Rashard Matthews, but how soon is he going to be involved? That might be one of the worst receiving cores in the NFL. Maybe Buffalo and, of course, Dallas with their huge trade for Amari Cooper. But the Jets are they're depleted at the wide receiver position. I don't see it.
I don't know if he's a regular rookie quarterback, though. So I wouldn't be surprised if he did okay. But like you said, with what weapons? Who's his tight end? Like Hinder? How do you say that guy's name?
Herndon, Chris Herndon.
Yeah, I mean, there's just some names out there. You're like, what? And then he's got Chris Ivory, who's balling. But again, I don't really believe in it. But I'm not. I don't know.
He's got 4 games with 17 points or less. Now, having said that, the flip side of that, he either is 17 and below offensive production, points-wise, or 34 and above. So 3 games over 34 points and 4 games under 17 points. It's Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. And they do not play well on the road. They just don't do it. And now you're playing at Chicago with a pissed-off defense that just lost back-to-back games. I don't know. I think Chicago is good. This is one of those scores that's going to be like 31-10.
Next up, we've got Bucks at Bengals.
First one to 100.
Yeah. I like the Bengals, though.
Yeah.
I'm feeling the mistake-free Andy Dalton, not really, versus the mistake-prone Winston. And I think that that's the difference.
Yeah, Cincinnati came off a horrible loss. And that's the thing. Andy Dalton does not play well in primetime or playoff games. We have seen this his entire career. He is awful. However, this game is Sunday at 1 o'clock, and nobody's going to be watching it. So, therefore, Andy Dalton's going to dominate. Tampa Bay they're on record pace for giving up the most yards in NFL history as a defense, and passing yards, they're going to break that 100% sure, but defensively as well. Cincinnati, this is going to be a barn burner, kind of first 1 to 30 wins type of a game. Cincinnati takes this one because they're more of a complete team. Their secondary is pretty strong. They've got some strength. Geno Atkins is playing like Defensive Player of the Year. He's playing amazing. So I just don't see it. Tampa Bay's front line is not healthy. Last week they were without Vinny Curry and without McCoy, who's also amazing. So I'm taking Cincinnati here by a lot. I'd say over a touchdown.
We got Seattle at the Lions. The Lions are a team that I still struggle to see consistency with picking them. I feel like they're definitely a Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde situation. I could easily see Seattle coming in here and beating this Lions team. I don't know. I feel that I'm going to go ahead and favor Russell Wilson, even with all the issues that this team has against the Lions. What say you?
Yeah, they're coming off a bye week, so you kind of got to give them that. And man, Detroit, they had a win. And if they can stay with their sensational rookie running back, Kerryon Johnson, who looks freaking amazing, I think that they can do some things. But again, Seattle, how do you predict Seattle? They get blown out at home, and then they play the Rams all the way down to the wire. Or what team is going to show up? Whenever I'm in these situations, usually I bet offensive line. You have to give the nod to Detroit. Defense, both defenses are pretty porous. But I still would favor Detroit here, even there, especially if Ezekiel Ansah plays, which I think he might finally be out there again. So I'm going Detroit here. I hate Seattle. No qualms about that. And I just, poor coaching, poor defense, poor offensive line. Russell Wilson can't save them in this one. I am taking the Detroit Lions.
Next up, a bitter rivalry. Broncos at the Chiefs. Can they be stopped? I don't think so. And this isn't the team to do it. Sorry. I'm taking the Chiefs big here. They continue to roll. And Kareem Hunt, I said it a long time ago. I'll say it again. Hardest runner in the NFL, and it ain't close. Does Saquon run maybe more beautifully? Yes. Does Gurley run more in a scary kind of who knows what he's going to do, jump over you, slide to the right way? Sure. But Kareem Hunt runs the ball like if he were to fall down, that his body would set on fire. Like, he pushes so far to just get that one extra yard. I'll take him over any running back right now. And I mean that. I'd take Kareem Hunt just if I were starting with a running back right now. I know that sounds crazy, but he's overperforming, and I don't feel like it's getting the attention that it deserves.
Yeah, I think that's very well said. If you watch the film, that guy, he's playing as well as any running back in football right now.
Oh, yeah.
You've got to say that. He's doing it running and passing. You know, the 2 receiving touchdowns last week. And if you look at what he did to Denver in week 4, holy freaking cow. He set them on fire by himself. And that was in Denver. Denver can't stop the run. Kareem Hunt's going to go off this week. If you're a DFS player or fantasy player, I'm going to have Kareem Hunt in the majority of my lineups this week. It's not close. Denver is a poorly coached team, and their backup quarterback is getting arrested for walking around neighborhoods and walking around houses. So, yeah, I'm going Kansas City completely here.
Awesome. Another bitter rivalry, but I don't think this game's going to be as good. We've got the Redskins at the Giants. At this point, the Giants really aren't even noteworthy. They're wasting Odell's prime. They're wasting Saquon's rookie year. Based partly because they won't give up on Eli, and they don't invest into their O-line. This is a team that if it doesn't change its formula of what it's been doing, what's going to happen is they're just going to continue to be bad. I don't care what star pieces they add. If they don't change the way that they approach building an NFL team, you're just going to be last place. Yeah, I don't favor them at all. I think the Redskins right now are the strongest team in the NFC East. Currently,
At defense, yeah.
At defense, at offense, I mean, I don't know, man. Even
they don't make mistakes.
They're just more efficient. Alex Smith looks like he just didn't miss a beat at all. Yeah, I got the Redskins here beaten up on the Giants. What about you?
Yeah, I think the Giants are in contention for worst team in the NFL. I'd put them and Buffalo and probably 49ers in that category. All of them are 1-6. Buffalo's 2-5. They have a great defense, but their offense is just so bad. I will not pick the New York Giants for one game the rest of the season. The 49ers travel to New York, and I'm picking the Niners in that game. Like, that's how bad they are. They're terrible. Offensive line terrible, defense terrible. It's Saquon, I get it. It's Odell, I get it. But that's not a team. You're building from the outside in. That's not what you do. It's not what you do. This is what happens when a 12-year-old playing Madden builds your team. You get the New York Giants. Big names on the outside. Big deal.
I feel like Baker Mayfield is being hazed by the ghost of Christmas past of the Browns. Like he's just facing all the trials of like every game he sings like John Dorsey and his ghost, and like it's just got to be the most difficult place to play because all the images you ever see has just been failure and failure. And
One of my we haven't talked about this on here, but on Hard Knocks, he made a comment like something bad happened, and he's on the sideline. He's like, "Well, that's okay. At least we got the cheerleaders; they'll root for us." And somebody goes, "Oh, we don't have cheerleaders," and he goes, "Are you for real?"
Yeah.
Like, that's what it has been for Baker Mayfield. Like, yeah, you do not have cheerleaders as a Cleveland Browns. It's okay, you got the dog pound, which will, I don't know, almost want to take a whole shot at Cleveland. I'm just going to stop.
Okay,
I should stop there. It's going to get bad.
Stop it. Stop making fun of that one kid in the room. All right, so it's called bullying. So we've got the Browns at the Steelers, and here's the deal. I respect the Browns. I do. Like, they're a team that can play ball, and I, could see them in most games. But not here. Steelers have just looked like they've got their card and continue to have their card. There's no reason to think otherwise. So, at home, Steelers get big on them. I like Juju in this game.
Yeah, you got to give it to perhaps Defensive Rookie of the Year, Denzel Ward. Cornerback that they got out of Ohio State with the 4th overall pick. They took a lot of slack for that, but he has been balling out, man. And he will be lined up against Antonio Brown, which is going to be a lot of fun to watch. But no, the Steelers are just too much at home. Let's just be really honest. They play well at home. They tied Cleveland in week 1 in Cleveland. I think that off of a bye week, the Steelers are just going to come out slinging. I think this one could be the one game where Cleveland just gets blown out. They played so many overtime games. It's unreal. They've already played an additional game on top of the rest of the NFL. I think that this is where Cleveland goes Cleveland. Pittsburgh wins big.
Yeah. So next we have it. I just actually felt the most awkward I've felt all day today because I just thought about this team and what's going on, and it's the cringiest thing going on right now in the NFL. Maybe
I already know
sports.
who you're talking about. I don't know what game you're going to talk about, but you're talking about Oakland, right?
Right. And so you got the Colts at Oakland, and I can't think of like just the worst play possible. Like, how could a game have started worse? I don't even know how you start worse than how he has started so far. Like, honestly, I'm not sure. It's just like automatically giving up your queen in chess. Like, what's happening? You trade away the foundation of your team, for sure. Then you trade away, and I know you like this trade for them. I don't disagree actually with the Amari trade. I think I don't want to speak for you, but I think they gave up too much, or Dallas did. But I'm just talking about the pieces of talent that Gruden has given up so far. Never mind the compensation. Let's just talk about that they're gone. So the message that it sends to Derek Carr is, I just took away your fastest car and your biggest toy, supposedly, right? Unless what we're saying is a locker room is that he's trash and we all agree he should have been gone. I don't think that was the vibe of the locker room. And what it looks like to the team, to the city, is Gruden has said goodbye to this year and potentially even goodbye to Derek Carr, who has a tear coming down his face. But he denied it. Did he? By the way, John, did he cry or did he not cry?
He's a crier, man. Let's be real. We know who Derek Carr is.
Yeah.
He cried and his mascara ran down his face.
Yeah.
And they're shopping him now. And I don't blame him. You know, I was not an Amari Cooper fan from day one. He's not consistent. I want a consistent wide receiver, and he is not that. He basically is Dez Bryant, but smaller, drops the ball a ridiculous amount, disappears in games, runs bad routes. Yeah, he's fast. Yeah, the highlight reel is amazing, but you can't depend on that guy. This is one move where I'm like, all right, man, he pulled one over on Jerry Jones, and if there's one person that is dumber than Gruden, it is Jerry Jones. So I would give him this. But yeah, the Raiders are terrible, man. The Raiders are terrible. And Indianapolis is not much better. This is Indianapolis' last 3 games. Jets, Bills, Raiders. Right now they're 1-1. Like, you've got the scheduling gods delivered to you a bunch of free wins, and they can't win even with that. So,
however, I would have favored a trade for Amari to the Colts because I think that Luck makes people better around him, and I think that that's definitely one piece. They need one more big playmaker at wide receiver, and I think
that's well said.
I really do. They'd be a force if, I'm just going to say, Dez, potentially. I know you think he's trash, but, I mean, at least in the red zone, he's a problem. So they just need one more.
They're in the locker room, both those. Yeah, he's very difficult to deal with.
Yeah. Colts at the Raiders. I'm taking Colts. Next up is you, man. San Fran at the Cards.
Ugh. The Cardinals beat us by 10 at home 2 short weeks ago. The low point of my 49er year. We are now playing in Arizona. It's a coin flip game. Nobody's really favored. Who knows, man? San Francisco is dead last in turnover ratio. We're basically next to dead last in sacks. We can't get pressure. Arizona's falling apart. They're starting to trade away their players or try to. I don't know, man. I hate to say it, but I don't think I can pick San Francisco on the road as long as we are turning the ball over and not forcing any turnovers. I'm taking Arizona here. Do you hear how sad I am?
Yeah, I hear it. You went strong sad real quick. Tell me, is Colbert done for?
Yeah, they put him on IR.
What are y'all's options at free safety and strong safety?
So Jaquiski Tart at strong safety had one of his best games in the past 2 years. He played great this week. But DJ Reed, who is our rookie quarterback out of Kansas State, is going to be playing. He's going to be starting free safety. Outside of that, it gets rough quick. The entire secondary is banged up. We were out both starting corners last week. Now we just lost our free safety. But to be honest, Adrian Colbert was the last ranked safety by Pro Football Focus out of 68 qualifying safeties. So it's not a huge loss. It's just a bad defense. Robert Saleh, our defensive coordinator, is absolutely garbage. Undercoached defense. He will be fired this year. If he makes it through the rest of the year, I would be surprised. But he'll be fired in the offseason for sure.
Well, at least you got Tark. I recently heard from somebody that Tark is one of the smartest football players to be around, so I'm glad you guys got him. All right. I won't even comment. You know what? You know what? I'm going to take San Francisco here. Here's why. The trade request from Patrick Peterson sends a shot through that locker room. Absolutely. And I don't like them to show up at home. I think it hit their morale. I like San Fran. All right, moving on. Green Bay at the Rams. The Rams are the most complete team in the NFL. They've got the pass. I won't say defensive line. I'm going to say they got the pass rush because they keep alternating and putting their Sue and Donald sometimes out on the end to switch things around. And that package that they do actually works pretty dang well to get to the QB, which is crazy. But they got a pass rush. They've got a secondary, except for Marcus Peters is probably one of the worst corners in football right now. No one's talking about that.
He's always been that way. That's the thing. You can talk about Marcus Peters and how great he's been, but that's highlights only. 2 out of the 3 years in his career, he has given up the most receiving yards in the NFL. He has always been this guy. He is a huge gamble quarterback that doesn't mind giving up touchdowns. He doesn't care. All he cares about are interceptions. That is it. Outside of that, and so, like, if you look at what they do defensively, he's probably playing for the best defensive coordinator in football in Wade Phillips, and they forced 4 turnovers last week. That's great whenever you don't allow one because you're playing in San Francisco, but if you're playing a steady offensive team, Marcus Peters is going to hurt you. Green Bay, steady offensive team. They're not going to win. Green Bay's going to lose this game. The Rams are going to keep winning, but they will be losing some games this year. I'll tell you that right now.
I'm going to say that this is Aaron Rodgers' last game of the season.
Oh, don't do that. Why would you say that?
I'm just going to tell you that. I'm just telling you what I think. I'm not wishing that upon him. I don't want that to happen. He's been playing injured. He's been hobbling around. this game is not meant, this particular matchup at their house is not meant for him. They're going to put pressure out there. They're going to man them up on the outside. They're going to put pressure on him. And I think that he's going to go down a lot. They struggle to protect this quarterback anyways. And the Rams have the kind of defense to take away some of those things that maybe weaker defenses won't pressure him on. They're going to try to lock him down. I think they're going to try to suffocate this offense to prove a point. And I think they'll be able to do it. So I hope, I don't, again, no juju on him. I just don't think that he's going to be able to stay healthy throughout this season. And I think this is potentially the game where that happens. So that's just where I'm at. All right. Next up, oh, God. This has got to be game of the week for sure. Oh, I love this. Saints at the Vikings. Oh, I think this game makes people want to throw up. Here's why, in a good way. I think that the Vikings fans Saints fans are sick to their stomach over this game. Like, if we lose this game, I just have no faith. You know, even though they've had a great season.
Yeah, they're 5-1, but yeah.
It's just one of those games like, why can't we beat them? This was the dirtiest comeback win I've ever seen in all of the postseason. Would you agree?
Yeah, I was in a sports book in Lake Tahoe, Nevada, watching this, and it was one of the coolest events ever because, you know, the betting lines were matched, and that play, a lot of people made some money and a lot of people lost some money, not to mention the fans on top of it. It was so awesome, and I was just eating up everybody's tears. I didn't even put money on the game. I just wanted to watch it, and it was freaking awesome. So
Dude.
The fact that it's at Minnesota makes it worse. I wish it was at New
Saints.
Orleans.
Yeah.
But this is playing for the first round bye. You know, the Rams probably going to be the 1 seed or 2 seed. The other one's going to come down to this, and it's going to be a tiebreaker between these two teams. I don't think there's any debate on who is the second and third best team. It's these two. So
Yeah.
this has a lot of lasting effects. Game of the week for sure.
For sure. And this Saints, you know, it's like being a Saints fan. You were watching, you know, the good guy, you know, in the movie walking down towards the sunset in the glory. Like, it's about to be over. Everything was good. And then somebody just comes and knifes him. And he's just dead at the end. That's what it's like for a Saints fan. Okay. So miraculous for the Vikings, except they met the Eagles the next week. Suckers! Next week is a game. I don't know. You'll kind of like talk to your friends in the background while this game's on. You know, you won't really pay attention that much. You got the Patriots at Buffalo. I'm kind of mean sometimes.
I like it.
Plus 14. Buffalo doesn't have the defense for this. And the Patriots defense is good enough to mess this Buffalo team up. So, I don't know. What are we talking here? 35 plus points? Is that too crazy?
They're favored by 14.
Okay, don't go too crazy then.
That's just where the money line is right now. I would take New England with 14 and have no problem. Buffalo is so bad. However, they have shocked some big ones. They have 2 wins. They destroyed Minnesota on the road. So, like, Buffalo's capable of putting a game together, but not this week.
No, not this week, and here's why. Because New England is quietly kind of coming back into rhythm a little bit. And Josh Gordon, Gronk, Edelman, James White. Don't even need Sony Michel with the way James White plays. Let's be real.
He's been unreal, man.
Yeah, dude. I mean, dude, it's unbelievable. So this offense is getting back to that level. It'll be interesting to see the next progression. If it happens, but it's starting to look like, oh, here we go. Same story. Just like the Spurs. Here we go again. So I like the Patriots to come out and just sling it. I like Josh Gordon to have a game here. I really do. So that's been NFL Express. I fought in a church, and you shouldn't do that.